And this is the Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Arindam Bagchi who has spoken on this issue, and he has said, and I quote, that it has come to our notice that staple visas were issued to some of our citizens representing the country in an international sporting event in China. This is unacceptable, and we've lodged our strong protest with the Chinese side, reiterating our consistent position on the matter and that India deserves the right to suitably respond to such actions. So this is what we have on, this is the MEA spokesperson Arindam Bagchi's reaction. Abhishek, coming back to you, like we were just speaking about China's reaction to this, but right now what seems to have happened is there seems to have been a very strong message that has been sent across to China on this issue. Now, this is not the first time, like you also mentioned, that staple visas, there has been an attempt by China to claim to put their claims over Arunachal Pradesh, and this is another way they have tried doing this, the staple visas. So since we are speaking about action and the response that India has given to this, are we looking at any stringent measures that might be taken by our government to counter this?
If we can term the India-China diplomatic relationship, it is almost an all-time low in the recent decades. In terms of people-to-people exchange, in terms of bilateral relationship, in terms of tensions, brewing at our borders, and this is where India has underlined the fact that unless until the security situation, unless until that peace and tranquility returns to the border areas, the normalcy in the relationship cannot be achieved. And what we are currently seeing that these staple visa issues or other issues have been emerging between the two nations is fallout of those, tensions that is actually happening at the border where both sides are not trying to budge. And in a way, we have also seen recently Indian side also, sending back journalists. Also, we learned that China has also stopped issuing visa to the Indian journalists who were residing in China. So clearly, the people-to-people exchange or people-to-people engagement is becoming a victim to this diplomatic tension that India and China has had for the last 3 years, almost ever since the Galwan clash has happened. What action China will take now remains to be seen. But we know that Indian government has taken this issue very seriously of issuing staple visa to the spokesperson, and they have also said that they reserve the right to react to it suitably in future also.
Right, Abhishek. We also have Siddhant with us on this broadcast. Siddhant, coming to you now. Abhishek just mentioned about the worsening diplomatic ties between the two sides. Could you throw some more light as to put the recent happenings into context? When it comes to these diplomatic relations between India and China, it doesn't seem to be at a very good position, and it seems pretty shaky right now. So what all are the events in the recent past that have led to this position and now to such a provocative move by China?
Well, lot. I mean, whenever it comes to relations with China, we have seen India taking a strong position or perhaps objecting to what China has been doing. I mean, you take example of SCO Leaders Summit. At that time also, perhaps in the series of meetings before that summit, India always objected to the Belt and Road Initiative of China. India also spoke about the countries violating unanimously the status quo, and perhaps India is somebody which is in SCO grouping also, somebody which is speaking against the dominance of China in that particular grouping. So it's not just one time, or perhaps what Abhishek has been talking about, that how India is, objecting to China doing or what, and the way India is positioning itself. Everybody knows about it. But again, this is something which India has been raising time and again, because for India it is unacceptable, and perhaps a strong statement was also issued yesterday by Ministry of External Affairs, and this is perhaps the reason that the entire team was stopped at the airport last night. And in fact, in 2011, if you remember, there were 5 karatekas who were given staple visa for a competition in China. Then 2 years later, there were 2 archers who were given staple visa ahead of the Youth World Championship in 2016. Then a badminton team was given the staple visa. So China does it intentionally because China knows how to handle how to give a headline or perhaps, make India uncomfortable. And whenever there is some teams going to China and the players are from the state of Arunachal Pradesh, this is a usual practice which China follows. But since India has taken a strong objection and also has stopped the team at the airports, have not let the teams go to China, will surely send out a strong message to the government in Beijing that this practice will not last long now. They have to issue the stamped visa. They have to be given the visas that any other Indians get. The staple visa is not something which will go well with the Indian government. Also, if you remember, few months back there was that one list which was released by the China, that imaginary territory of Arunachal Pradesh, which was given the Chinese name. The places in Arunachal Pradesh were given the Chinese name. So time and again, China has been making this illegit claim of Arunachal Pradesh being a Chinese territory. In fact, Indian government has been responding strongly to it, and in fact, objecting to it. And now this particular decision of stopping the team and issuing a strong statement, clears the position of Indian government and how strongly Indian government is perhaps sending this message to Beijing. And also this particular issue would be raised, maybe perhaps would be raised in some multilateral event because it looks like that the government of India is not ready to tolerate staple visa being given to the people from the state of Arunachal Pradesh.
Right, Siddhant. Well, Abhishek, coming back to you, speaking of this no tolerance towards a staple visa, now that this has played out, we have spoken enough about what has led to this right now, what has led to this particular situation right now. Let us speculate a little on the repercussions it will have. We know that China hasn't responded yet, but what all can we expect? What all can we anticipate when it comes to the consequences and the repercussions? Can the diplomatic ties between India and China get worsened further, or are we looking at some sort of a dialogue between the two sides where they do settle down for once and for all about this particular issue on staple visas?
The diplomatic visa are in a way the diplomatic gesture or a statement of disagreement by one country towards another. In the context of India and China, it has been a point of contention, and India has expressed its objection to such practices in the past. But now, what China is going to do, it is going to reiterate its claim that the territory of Arunachal Pradesh belongs to us. We have seen it happening this in past also. There has been renaming of certain places in Arunachal Pradesh in the recent past by the Chinese authorities, by the Chinese government. So clearly, that issue is going to erupt again when China will claim, and India will, of course, deny or reject this claim over Indian territory and sovereignty. But the only, fallout of this whole controversy is that why China is becoming provocative. Because recently we have seen Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, while meeting NSA Doval in South Africa's Johannesburg during the BRICS NSA meeting, he has said that India and China should stabilize its relationship because it will be good for the two countries and the entire region. And the border issue should be put in a certain context, and it should not mark the entire diplomatic or the bilateral relationship of India and China. Having said that, if China continues to provoke India with such issues like doing staple visa or not recognizing the Indian state or the territory of India like Arunachal Pradesh as its own, then clearly the border issue is also not going to be solved. There is hardly any understanding from the Chinese side that China has expressed in the recent times where it would like to accommodate India's point of view on the issue of border and sovereignty and territorial integrity. So clearly, what Chinese side has said or stated by its ministers or senior leadership has stated in the past, and what their actions have been on ground are not matching or not connecting. So clearly,